WRVS-FM HD1 Elizabeth City State University. From the gridiron to the radio. This is ECSU Football Insider, only on WRVS 89.9.
Hello, Viking family, and welcome to another edition of ECSU Football Insider. I'm Clay Mercer, and with me, as always, is the head coach of ECSU Football, Adrian Jones. Coach Jones, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Clay. It's a blessing.
Yeah, Coach, great to always be here with you and talk ECSU Mighty Viking football. It was another wonderful day for football inside Roebuck Stadium this past Saturday. Sunshine, an exciting atmosphere, a good crowd on hand for this game. First home game of the season for ECSU, and just talk about how excited you were to have that first game here in Elizabeth City.
We were very excited. We always want to protect the buck. We don't want to lose at the buck, and it won't be a lot of losses by our football team at home. But it was a great atmosphere. I'm loving how the fans are supporting us and getting behind us, and the time is coming for us. I see it, but we just got to continue to work.
Yeah, no question. And the Vikings will definitely do that. They had a lot of work in front of them, and their hands are going to be full with number 23, Johnson C. Smith, making their way from Charlotte into Elizabeth City. It's a Golden Bulls team that ECSU has not defeated since the 2017 season. Now, to put that into context, obviously, the series had a little bit of a halt to it for about 5 consecutive seasons with impact of COVID and other reasons. But it resumed in 2022, and this was a fine opportunity to flip that streak a little bit, get it back into ECSU's ways, and more importantly, the Vikings are hoping to pick up their first win of the season after having 2 close games to start off the season.
Yeah, I think we continue to show people that we're a good football team. You know, yes, we're 0-3, but we played a team that was ranked and it went down to the wire. So it's just a shout out to my coaching staff, my players, and believing in our vision and just continue to play. I want to talk about a quote. I'm a Michael Jordan fan, and one thing he says: to win, you got to lose. To be successful, you got to have something not successful. To be happy, you got to have disappointment. To take a negative and turn it into a positive, and don't be afraid to fail. And I think our guys have been through those things as a football team. You know, we've learned how to lose, so that's going to set us up to win. Our guys are ready to win and are going to do whatever it takes to win. And they say if it means to watch more film, so be it. If it means to stay out on the football field and do extra drills to better ourselves, so be it. So we're going to turn that curve.
Yeah, and the coaching staff, we've talked about your staff over these past few episodes, but the trust that you have in them is paid dividends for the Vikings so far this season. Speak about that connection again with the players and the coaches and how the coaches have helped this team just grow week in and week out.
Well, I can talk about one scenario in that game. We took out our best running back, Traquan Johnson, and shout out to Coach Sanders, and put a freshman in, Emil Braswell, and he broke a run that he almost scored on. And for him to have confidence in that young man and to mix it up because they were honing in on Traquan and putting Braswell in the game, and he hit like a 25-yard run in the fourth quarter was huge.
Yeah, and it also shows the depth that this mighty Viking football team has. Looking back at the Vikings' 17-21 loss to the Golden Bulls, the headlines coming out of that may have been ECSU learning to win or big plays causing losses. We'll talk about what went down this past weekend in a moment, and there are plenty positives, and we're going to get into all of that. But let's look back at the headlines, Coach. You've had time to analyze and study this a little bit more. ECSU up 17-14 deep into the fourth quarter. And on the fifth play, JCSU's second drive of the quarter, their quarterback Durham threw a 49-yard touchdown to Reginald Daniel that proved to be the game-winning play. There may have been a breakdown defensively for ECSU on that specific play. What were your observations of how that play unfolded?
Well, if you look at it from just the game situation, everybody's going to look at Mr. Lowry, our defensive back. You know, he bit on a hitch, And he in the quarterback scramble, and we always talk about stay deeper than the deepest in that particular defense, and don't let nobody get behind you. But you put yourself in some situations. We go back and watch the film. Our defensive end, if he does what he's supposed to do, contain the quarterback, he doesn't get out and scramble, that never happens. We get the sack. But it's the little things like that we go into corrections, and that particular play hurt that young man, Larry. He was on the sidelines, and he felt like it was all his fault, and it was my job to console him and let him know that it's not just your fault. Like, the next time, I told him, the next time that play happens to you, just tackle him and we'll get a penalty. There's no touchdown. We live to see another day. So, like you said, there are growing pains, there are learning pains from this, but at the end of the day, when you see a kid that really thinks that he's the reason why that we lost that game, he's holding himself accountable. Yeah. So we just got to make sure that we continue to teach these guys and show them the winning ways.
I saw him when he came to the sideline. He got down on the ground. He took it personal, and I was worried because, again, there's so much that happens, and you always say it's just not one play. And so there was a lot of frustration and disappointment on that Viking sideline. Each team, every team, goes through growing pains as they continue to work towards success. And I'm sure the defense overall took it hard. What will you and the coaching staff do with the team over these next few practices, just to maybe get that out of their mind, let them shake that off and get ready for this Saturday's matchup? It's a teachable moment.
Well, what we do on Mondays is no matter win or lose, we show our guys good film, good plays that they've done, and the bad plays. So, when Larry missed the tackle on that touchdown, I told him, I said, offense about to get back on the field. We got a chance to win. This is what we want to be in, situations like this to prepare us for the playoffs. And I believe our offense is going to be able to drive the ball down the field. 4th and 2, our quarterback makes a bad decision. We always talk about shortest throw, softest coverage. If you go back and look at the film, one of our players was wide open. TJ Holland was wide open. He catch that ball, he might score. So we show that type of stuff, not to embarrass anybody, but to show them when you do it our way, let's do it the coach's way. And then when we get a little bit more trust in you, we'll let you do it your way, because now we have groomed you on how to be a football coach on the field. But as long as they do it our way, they did it our way 3 quarters. And a couple of players want to be superheroes, and that's just in their DNA. They wanted to win that game bad. I would much rather for our players to understand, if the coaches coach and something goes wrong by us coaching, I'll take that loss a lot better than we putting in our kids' hands. So we're just still learning.
Yeah, before we get into some more of the highlights, it's obvious that there was not just one play that caused the Vikings to come up short. Any other deficiencies for ECSU that did not lead to winning football against Johnson C. Smith?
Well, we didn't turn the ball over, but there are 2 plays that come to mind, and these guys understand that they got to make those plays. Cotrez Bracey made a heck of a catch on a 91-yard touchdown and come back, when we could put it away and go up 24-10. He dropped a wide open pass. And then early in the first quarter, we were up 3-0. We get they're driving, and DeAndre Tolson drops the interception for a touchdown, would have put us up 10-0. So 2 plays, I think, that dictate the difference between us winning and losing that football game. But at the end of the day, we're going to learn from it, and we're going to keep chopping wood, carrying water.
I love it. Let's jump into some first half highlights. And, Coach, you talked about our special teams have improved, and it showed on the Vikings' second drive of the game as kicker Benjamin Turner was successful on his first field goal of the season to give ECSU a 3-0 lead. It's great to get into the red zone and just come away with some points. The redshirt sophomore kicker out of Waxhaw looked very confident, and special teams have been a positive for ECSU so far this season. Talk about how vital special teams is to garnering success.
Well, special teams is a saying, it'll lose you two and win you two. We have confidence in Ben. It wasn't on the hash that he prefers. He prefers to be in the middle of the field on the left hash. But, having Coach Glanton having confidence in him to kick that, it was huge, that we were able to put points on the board first and put a little pressure on John C. Smith to answer. And I think that we just got to continue to do that, get points whenever we get in the red zone.
Yeah, and speaking of answering, it didn't take the Golden Bulls very long, capping off their next drive with a 56-yard touchdown run by Antonio Krim. It was the 3rd and 10 on their own 44-yard line, and it turned into a big play for the Golden Bulls. You know, and we've talked about this before. Big plays are going to happen for either side throughout the entire game. But you can understand the frustration from the Viking family when these type of plays occur. Y'all are frustrated too on the sidelines just as much. But what do you say to the team to keep them from staying frustrated themselves and get them back focused, because there's a lot of game left?
Well, we have an explosive offense, so we don't worry about when teams score. We just got to go back and answer. And we talked about it all week. The John C. Smith was a big play team. That's how they score their points. They're not that team that could put the ball on the -20 and drive at 80, and have 15 plays. We knew that they couldn't sustain that. They look for big plays, and when you talk about that and it happens, now your kids tend to listen to you a little bit more. But preparation is key. Believing in our kids, having good game plans when you're down. We were down 14-3, and that big play from Bracey closed the gap to 14-10. They come back out at halftime. We get a 3 and out. They punt it to us. We drive the ball straight down the field and we score 17-14. So we have the tools. We just got to continue to press on. Yeah.
After a quick 4 plays and out for ECSU, the Golden Bulls will get the ball back. The drive would proceed into the second quarter, and they would finish it with a 1-yard touchdown run by Bobby Smith. It was 9 plays, 83 yards down the field, a pretty long drive. The Vikings find themselves trailing at this point, Coach, 3-14, but midway through the second quarter, ECSU would find the end zone. Quarterback Chris Perkins would find Catrez Bracey on that 91-yard touchdown pass you just talked about. Turner's PAT got the Vikings right back into the game. Had to be feeling good about where we were.
Yeah, we definitely feeling good where we were. Only thing I would say about that particular play, Bracey did I think it was a little bit of excessive celebration, and it gave us a penalty. And my words to him, I'm so happy that you scored. But at the end of the day, it's what all coaches say: act like you've been there. You've been playing football since you're 6 or 7 years old, and you probably done scored 1 million touchdowns. Yeah. But lesson learned. The kid listened, and he's going to continue to be a good football player for us.
Definitely. The Golden Bulls will take a 14-10 lead into the locker room, evaluate the team's overall first half performance. And did you have any worries going into the second half?
Oh, no, we had no worries. We had a good game plan. As we go into the locker room, we let the kids kind of sit in the locker room by themselves. The coaches sit down and talk about what's the game plan. And then we break up and go talk to offense and defense. I think we had a good game plan. The number one thing was we knew they was getting the ball back, and we had to get a stop for them to punt the ball off to us. And when they punt the ball off to us, it's a must that we score. Yeah. And I think we did a good job of that. And we had their attention. We had those guys' attention. Like I said, it ain't too many 0-3 teams that look like Elizabeth City State University.
Yeah, that's 100% correct. Could the Vikings get that stop? Could they put together 2 strong halves? We'll find out. We'll recap the rest of the game and preview this Saturday's matchup in Rocky Mount when we return here to ECSU Football Insider.
Get your tickets now for ECSU football online at ECSUVikings.com.
This is ECSU Spotlight. The Department of Criminal Justice provides a stimulating academic program that prepares graduates for careers in criminal justice. In addition to degree programs such as history and interdisciplinary studies, ECSU is the first 4-year public institution in North Carolina to offer a 4-year Homeland Security undergraduate program. Learn more about the Department of Criminal Justice online at www.ecsu.edu. Elizabeth City State University. Come to discover, leave to conquer.
With federal funding for public media eliminated, listeners all over this country are stepping up to support public radio. Hi, I'm Elsa Chang from All Things Considered.
And I'm Aisha Roscoe from Weekend Edition. We're here to share a little of what people are saying. Kyle in Brooklyn says, I'm skipping 2 lattes a month to keep Steve Inskeep in my ear each morning. We see you, and thank you, Kyle.
Farouk in El Paso, Texas says, public radio is one of the key bloodlines of this country, keeping communities connected. Thank you, Farouk.
And Diane in Juneau, Alaska says, I'm so sorry this day has come. You have my support as long as I am able. Thanks, Diane.
If you have already made your gift to the station, or if you're a sustaining donor, seriously, thank you.
If not, please join the movement to protect public radio today and tell us why you're stepping up.
Here's how to donate. and thanks.
Use your credit or debit card online at WRVS899.com and support what you love today.
Let's get back to ECSU Football Insider online at WRVS899.com.
Back here with you for ECSU Football Insider, Clay Mercer, and ECSU football head coach Adrian Jones. Coach, again, our student athletes continue to get recognized for their strong play on the field. Congrats to CIAA linebacker of the week, Chris Calhoun. 6 solo tackles, season high 14 tackles, a strong outing by the senior out of San Diego.
He did a great job. I joked him that on one of those long runs, he missed a tackle in the telephone booth. But at the end of the day, he got recognized by the CIAA, and we're proud that he's representing our wonderful university and our football team.
Yeah, no question. Speaking of the student athletes here at ECSU, the volleyball team is hitting the road and hoping to pick up some wins this weekend as they travel to Pennsylvania to participate in the IUP Classic. You want to learn more about volleyball, football, and all athletics here at ECSU, just go online to ECSUVikings.com. Coach, the energy was high inside Roebuck Stadium as the Vikings start the second half, trailing Johnson C. Smith, but in this game and looking really good. What was your message to the team in the locker room?
What we always talk about, I think, is me, Coach Gibbs, and Coach Oliver, who were up under Coach Broadway's tutelage. Is something good happen, keep playing. If something bad happen, keep playing. And I think that we answer those callings.
Yeah, no question. That message was well received, definitely by the defensive unit. They stopped the Golden Bulls on that first drive in the half, and you talked about how important you wanted to get a stop and get the ball back. That 4 and out will lead to a 1-yard touchdown run by Traquan Johnson. 13 plays, 90 yards. A lot went right on that drive for ECSU.
Man, I'm on the headset and I'm listening to Coach Hester dial up plays, and look, it seemed like every play that he was calling was on point. We were going 12 personnel, we were going 10 personnel. You saw Shamar get the ball in the backfield. You saw him running routes as a wide receiver. We just were very creative, and it wasn't just Coach Hester, it's our whole offensive staff that kind of pick and choose how we're going to use people in this offense. And it was just exciting to be a fan on the headset, listening to him dial up plays.
Yeah, that's got to be lovely to hear. I wish I could hear some of that, too, because I know that it just felt like he was surgically just making things happen during that drive. It was phenomenal to watch. ECSU will take a 17-14 lead into the fourth quarter, Coach, and the team is in the driver's seat at this point against a nationally ranked Golden Bulls team. The defense held strong and forced them to attempt a field goal. The kick by Smolin went wide, and now ECSU has a chance to really put their foot on their necks and put this game away. A lot of momentum on the ECSU sideline.
Yeah, it was a lot of momentum, and before we went out there to go back on offense, it was talks all about us going down and ending this football game, and that's what we believed in, that we were going to end it. Didn't turn out that way, but the mindset is there.
Yeah. Again, I hate to say the tale of two halves, and you talked about this one. It was like 3 good quarters for ECSU. Fourth one didn't go the way you wanted it to, but that's just the way it's been so far this season, where the Vikings are late in the second half with a chance to pull out these wins. As frustrating as it can also be rewarding, and it can also make you feel good about where the Vikings are going. And this season, you talked about it, we want some wins, and you have to feel good about what you're seeing overall by the Vikings.
Definitely love what we're seeing from our Vikings. We go back to Contreras Bracy on that catch that he drops. He bobbled it about 3 times. You see people in the stands celebrating, and he dropped it. At the end of the day, he held himself accountable for that. In that practice, he's like, Coach, I got to work on those catches because it's the hardest catch. The catch when you're running as fast as he was. But lesson learned. I think that you're going to see the fruits of our labor this week. I told our guys that it's conference play. Mm-hmm. There's no reason why we can't take one game at a time and be in Durham at the end of the year. Yeah, we control our own destiny.
Yeah, definitely where it counts now coming up here. And both of ECSU's next drive in this past game would stall, and Johnson C. Smith will capitalize on their opportunity, a 49-yard touchdown pass. Put the Golden Bulls back on top, and we've talked about that play already. But ECSU still had a little over 3 minutes to work with for this very next drive. As difficult as that play was to digest, There's still a lot of time left to turn this thing around. Your thoughts going into those final 3 or so minutes of the game?
I thought it was a perfect situation because we work on that what we call the 2-minute drill. Even though it was 3 minutes left on the clock, we were prepared. Once again, we were moving the ball. We got into a 4th and 2 situation, and Chris Perkins, he's still learning at quarterback. We always talk about, throwing to the open man. I think he kind of predetermined where he was going to throw at, and you show it on film where he should have thrown. At the end of the day, it's a human mistake. We learn from it, and we're going to get better. I don't think it should have even got to that point. So at the end of the day, we just got to learn from those mistakes and life lessons. Yeah,
on that drill that you talked about, Perkins, they moved the chains on that first one as he was able to find Bracey, but a turnover on downs, and JCSU was still a 21-17 win. And, yes, they stole it out of Roebuck Stadium this past Saturday. Another close game, Coach, that came down to the final quarter. Your overall thoughts on this one from Saturday?
It was a great learning tool. Like I just talked about earlier about the Michael Jordan quote. We're right there. Like, we've learned how to lose close ones, and it has hurt our guys. But at the end of the day, we haven't even got near our peak. Yeah. We're still gravitating to greatness, and it's going to be great things. I really think that you're going to see us in the CIAA championship, and I believe it wholeheartedly. And a confident coach builds confident players, and I'm very confident in this football team. I could care less what the haters think. At the end of the day, and I tell my kids that you should thrive when people hate on you. That should make you even stronger. A lot of people think that they hurt you when they hate on you, but that builds strength in me because I love to prove the doubters wrong. And at the end of the day, they're gonna feed off of my energy. Yeah. We're ready to go into conference, and we're ready to go 7-0.
Well, I'll tell you, that greatness may show this Saturday as ECSU heads into the Down East Viking Football Classic in Rocky Mount to face Fayetteville State, which has become a common foe for us Vikings at the Classic. In fact, ECSU matched up with the Broncos in the very first Classic game that took place back in 1998. Now, the Broncos have won 3 of the last games in this series against the Vikings, but they'll be looking for their first win of the season, too. What are we expecting to see from Fayetteville State on Saturday?
Well, we know that it's 2 0-3 teams. I know Coach Hayes very well. He's a competitor. He knows that I'm a competitor, and nothing more than he wants to come beat my butt. And it's the same thing. I want to beat his butt too. But it's going to be a physical football game. I think they're going to be crafty at what they do. They're going to be very fast on defense. They got some big guys up front. He's a defensive minded guy. He's going to try to keep us from scoring. We just got to be able to answer and control the tempo, score some points, and don't turn the ball over, and it puts us in a situation to win.
Yeah, you got 2 desperate teams wanting to get this victory. The good thing about it for us, we've got a quote-unquote home game in Rocky Mount, and there's going to be a lot of Vikings in the stands for this one. Kickoff for this one is set for 1 over at Rocky Mount Sports Complex. We want you all to be there. We still want the Vikings and everybody to take that short trip to Rocky Mount and make sure that a lot of Viking blue is in the stands. You can get your tickets and more information online at ECSUVikings.com. And in case you can't make it to the game, or maybe you're in the stands and you want to hear the commentary that we provide, exclusive radio coverage of the game will be provided online at WRVS899.com. Coach, we've come to the end of today's show, but I want to give you some time to get the Viking faithful excited about the Down East Viking Football Classic if they need it, and also get them prepared for what's to come.
Well, we look forward to you coming out. Mr. Johnny Walton came and talked to us yesterday in a meeting, and it was you love to hear the Viking pride that he has, and he told those guys that he believed in them. He knows football very well. He called out some guys making big plays, and and those guys are so surprised that he knew who they were. But at the end of the day, we want to continue to show greatness, be a good football team, have a clean game, and make you guys proud. We're here. Our coaching staff is here to make this campus a proud campus, and we want to be known nationwide. And I promise you guys that we're going to get better, and we're going to work our butts off to getting the win this weekend.
Yeah, we can definitely see that. Family, if you missed out on any parts of today's show, you want to catch up on past shows, just go to the WRVS 899 YouTube channel and watch it anytime. Coach, thank you so much for making this show happen. Thanks for for talking to the listeners and getting them ready for Saturday. I look forward to catching up with you next week.
Look forward to it. Viking pride.
ECSU Football Insider is produced at WRVS Studios on the campus of Elizabeth City State University, powered by the ECSU Department of Radio and Television Services. Learn more online at WRVS899.com.